Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 story from Dorking Wanderers with me, Daniel. It's season 11, episode 5, and today, remarkably, we're still in the promotion race and we're back for a massive transfer deadline day. Can we hold on to all of our key players that have done so well for us this year, kept us with the best defeated record in the league, only 4 losses compared to everyone else, only 5 points off the top with Watford, and 7 points clear of Saturday's opponents Reading? What an episode this could be. If we have a good deadline day and then go and beat third place Reading, we could be on course for promotion to the Premier League. I don't know about you, I didn't see it coming this season, and I didn't think it would come while we were still ground sharing with Crawley. And I don't want to get excited just yet because we are starting to get knocks, we are starting to have little difficulties, and of course some of the players are starting to fade in form. But other young players are developing quickly and coming on strong, so there's sense for optimism at the club here. So we will get into all of that action in a moment, but firstly a massive thank you to everyone who continues to support the channel. I do really appreciate it. If you're looking forward to this one, possibly the biggest episode in the series so far, please do put a thumbs up on it. I really do appreciate it. It'd be great to start the week with a good episode and hopefully a real promotion charge with Dorking. It would certainly be unexpected. We were just looking to consolidate, but some stars have just outperformed any expectations we could have had. I mean, the top goal scorer does all of that for us. Fraser Cotleo on 17 goals. We brought him in to be a backup to Brendan Lindsay, who's barely kicked a ball due to injury, and he's now become a star in the Championship. It's absolutely baffling. If we can go up, I mean, a lot of these players aren't good enough, but they'll get sold for much bigger money than we got them for. Most of the team purchased for free. We have spent a little bit this January. We've gone for a little calculated gamble as we try and push for promotion, but again, only on players on lower wages who we feel we can sell on for a profit. So a little bit more than we've spent usually, but fingers crossed it will all pay off. If you haven't already and you want to keep up to date with the rest of this season and all the content on the channel, please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on down below. You'll get alerts as all new episodes release, any live streams start, all sorts of action on the channel over the last few weeks. Thank you to everyone that did join the live stream last week, my second ever one. I really did appreciate it, and there's a full replay in the eye above. There's also action from the new season of The Head Coach, my other FM20 series. That one, no saying transfer staffing or contracts, and of course in there we're a journeyman rather than a one club loyal man. And yesterday of course saw the 2 new series on the channel continue. My FM20 network career at midday, and then at 4:30 my football stadium review series. A look at the real footballing world, a bit therapeutic for me, so hopefully you'll enjoy it as well if you're missing football. But thank you to everyone who's checked out those 2 new series. Please do give them a try and give me your feedback. It really does mean a lot. And thank you again to the 2 co-hosts who are joining me for both of those series. But on to today's episode with Dorking. We start with transfer deadline day. We're going to take part, and I'm going to show you before we get into it all of the action so far this month. So if we head to the transfers, you'll be able to see there's a few little bits potentially going on. One possible returning hero depending on what happens with the deal below it. But let's start with the history. It has been an expensive month for Dorking. Probably the first time we've ever spent more than we've sold in a month. So Matthew Smith, the only one leaving for a fee, and Manny Cook, but it's 10 grand, so there's no point getting too excited. Matthew Smith deserves the mention. Club legend, 307 league appearances, 8 goals, and plenty of good performances. I mean, the assist chart is right up there. Almost like that sort of Fabregas at Arsenal who was getting assists every year. He's up there with them. A wonderful player, a wonderful servant, and of course crucial to 3 promotions. He was in the first team in the League 2, League 1 and the National League promotion season, and he came an awful long way for us. We also make 170 grand profit, so you can't complain whatsoever. Manny Cook on for 10 grand, not too much to worry about there. Tommy Parks, he's gone to Lincoln on loan, wasn't getting in the team. Ollie Drury also had his loan terminated because he wasn't happy with the football, the other right winger. And Joe Wilson has gone on loan to Colchester. Now those 2 are because we've bought in better replacements. And you may see one name that you don't recognise on the outs list. And it's a name that we've been chasing for a long time but haven't had at Dorking before. And you'll see he features as one of the big ins. So let me know in the comments if you remember the name and what you think of it if you do. But he was the first of 3 January signings, though he has gone back on loan to Portsmouth for the rest of the year. It saved us about 200 grand on a transfer, and of course we're expecting Stropper to stay for this few months. If we get to the summer, we can then sell him. But Ben Barrett, the Portsmouth goalkeeper we were chasing, finally reduced his wage demands, now just 7.75 grand a week. Portsmouth paying that till the end of the season, of course. 3-star ability, 3.5 potential. Not really much between him and Stropper, an English 26-year-old and another good goalkeeper. So if we go up next year with these two and Ball, we have got Premier League ready keepers. Otherwise, it means we can sell on Stropper, we can sell on Barrett for big money, and we won't be any the worse for it. But then on to the real bargain of the month. Sean Wheatley from Newcastle for, yes, £8,500 at Championship level. A profit from him or Manny Cook. Think about that when we get him in. 2.5 star ability, 3.5 potential, 22-year-old right winger who can also play in central midfield. He's a really decent young player. He's made one appearance in the FA Cup for us already. He's got great natural fitness, he's got decent work rate, he's got a good personality, good at crossing the ball, and he can play as that inside forward on the right wing. I mean, he's on a relatively modest wage. What it does mean, because we haven't been able to get a replacement central midfielder, is that he can play as our backup right winger, and that means Tordoff will always be able to stay in the middle. So I'm really excited about this one. For the money we've paid, I think this is going to be a brilliant deal. So we'll wait and see if we're right on that one, but he's training well, he's started on fire, and I've got high hopes for this lot indeed. And then on to the final one, the biggest spend of the month, and it's for a backup player, so it's a little bit weird, but Kyle Brown from Rangers for $925,000. He's a 3-star central defender with 4-star potential. He's only got a balanced personality, which we're trying to mould, trying to get him up to that level where he's resolute, he's fairly professional, whatever it may be to aid his development. But in terms of his defensive stats only, taking away the ball-playing defenders and all that sort of stuff, he's actually really solid. He's good in the air, he's great in the tackle, good concentration, decision-making, jumping reach, he's quick, maybe not the strongest, which isn't great, but he's very tall, he's a Scottish under-21 international, and again, he's earning a fairly low wage. So this is the sort of one, I mean, he's already worth 2.5 times what we paid for him, and he's yet to make an appearance for us in 2 days. So that suggests that we've got a good deal. He's quite versatile, apparently he can play on the left and right wing. He can't cross or dribble and he hasn't got good technique. He can't run off the ball, so I'm not sure why that's the case. But either way, a good young player and another one that fits the mould of the signings we're looking for. We have lost out on a couple. There's one in particular I was very angry about. I've lost out to my head coach club Burnley, and he was a good young player from Scotland. So let me go and show you him if I can find him. Is he in the squad for them at all yet? He's not, which is even more frustrating. He's been dropped to the 23s. Alan McGoldrick from Partick Thistle. They paid 750 grand, and he just looks a cracking midfielder at 19. I really think he's going to be a star. But as it is, Burnley are going to benefit from him, not us. So we're going to have to be patient and try and find an alternative. But overall, a really good start to the window. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And we're going to skip ahead through deadline day to see if there's 1 or 2 more bits of magic to come. Well, first news of deadline day, we've missed out on another central midfielder. Mick Cross from Wolves for 1.3 million. He's chosen Portsmouth. Same sort of wage, so a little bit upset by that. Good young midfielder, but not the end of the world. We'll manage without him. Millwall have made a loan offer for Burns. I mean, it's a good offer, but he's involved in our squad, so we're not getting rid of him. Luton have made an offer for a keeper. He was my backup signing. And these two that have been scouted look pretty decent. Who's Howarth? No, he's not quite as good. So we're going to leave it for now. Joe Thompson's been brilliant as a backup. And most importantly, we have got James King on the way. 825,000 again. More money coming out the club. But this one on a modest wage is a proper striker, which we've been looking for. Brendan Lindsay has basically been injured all season. Played 1 or 2 games and then got injured again. Cotleo can't do it all on his own, and Manny Cook's now left as the backup and wasn't good enough anyway. So this guy, a little bit of a risk because he doesn't work hard and it's not really my mould of striker. But aside from that, he's got everything we need. He's decent in the air, he's quick, he's a good finisher, he's composed, and he's quite strong as well. So when he wants to, he could be a brilliant pro. So we're going to bring him in, again one that we're pretty sure we can make a profit on. So James King will join the club, and that may be the big deal of deadline day. 825,000, 3-star ability, 3.5 potential. He's rated just behind Cotleo according to the reports, who's really improving very quickly. And I think with those two together, we should have goals when we need them. If one's out of form, we can then swap over. We've got a game changer on the bench again. Well, it's 2 o'clock and I think we've got the last bit of news from deadline day. Of course, I've had to cancel the deal for John Webb. Was going to come in as our backup striker, returning hero. We were trying to avoid the loan spots if possible because we've already got 5. And as a result of King joining, we were able to do that. But we have got one final signing, another one of these calculated risks. 130,000 for Shane Bennett, 1.6 grand a week, very low wage, and he's a young central midfielder. So let's bring him in, and then we'll go and meet him in more detail. He's got 2.5 star ability, 4.5 potential still. At 21, we'll get toured off to welcome him again. He's now our new deputy vice captain. Got the wrong word there because Matthew Smith left the club and he previously held that post. If we go and look at Bennett's report, he's rated behind the 4 midfielders basically. So he's behind toured off, Porteous, Moles and Bentley. He's level with Burns, who can also play in that position. But he looks a decent player. Physically very good, which is something that's going to bode well for him. He's got an okay personality, he's fairly determined. I mean, it's just technically he's not quite up to scratch. So we will try and work on that off the pitch and hopefully it will pay dividends. But I'm fairly happy with that signing. As a backup player, a replacement for Smith, for less money than we sold Smith for as well. And I think we'll be able to make a profit on him. So that's probably the end of deadline day for us. We have got a couple of other bits of bad news. That being Zach Council's agreed a deal with Rangers, so he will definitely be leaving at the end of this season. He's been such a contributor for us as well. He's been in poor form since that deal was agreed too, which is a cause for worry. The other news, this time much better, is Aaron White, the left winger, has agreed a loan deal for next season, so he'll be with us at least 18 more months. That's far better news than what we had previously. And otherwise, everyone's been in great form. So we're going to go ahead to Saturday for the Reading game. I will then show you the schedule, all of the recent results. And of course I will pop back if we get any surprise offers for the rest of today. But I don't think they're going to be forthcoming. So we'll be back on Saturday for a fixtures roundup. And then our massive top of the table clash against Reading. Just one quick stop off along the way. Deadline day's over. Nothing else has happened. But have a look at this. This is the wage expenditure in the Championship. We're still in 23rd place, only Doncaster below us, and in fairness to them, they're 18th as well. There are lots of big sides spending a lot more money who are really struggling this season. If we go to the top, I mean, West Ham and Palace spending the most, Huddersfield over $1 million as well. West Ham are, where are they? I can't see them, 6th place. Palace, they are in 4th, Huddersfield 9th. Brentford were next, they're in 11th. So it just shows how well we're doing to compete. Reading up in 5th, they're our opponents on Saturday. Of course, they're 3rd in the Championship table. And this is going to be a really tough test and a pivotal one if we want to get a surprise promotion. So let's skip ahead to Saturday now. We'll be back in a moment for the roundup and the big game. Here we go then. We've reached the big game and we've got some good news on the injury front. Brendan Lindsay available for the bench. Aaron White fit. Mitchell Baker not, unfortunately. But let's have a look at the schedule to see what's been happening the last couple of months and how we've managed to stay in promotion contention. Of course, you were with me last time out for the Carabao Cup tie at Arsenal. A disappointing end to a brilliant run, but there may be another one on the horizon, so let's not worry about that for now. We finished the year in brilliant style. We have had a sticky patch recently, particularly in the league, but fortunately for us, everyone else has been slipping up too. So if we go and look at our results in full, we won 2-1 against Fulham, again from behind with 15 minutes to go. Alfie Blackwood gave Fulham the lead, and then with 5 to go, Zach Council turned up, and Adrian Bentley off the bench with another moment of heroism. I mean, he's not developing brilliantly compared to some of the others. He's playing a lot of games, particularly off the bench. He just pops up with the odd big moment, so fair play to him for that. We won 3-2 on Boxing Day away at Brentford. Another brilliant one this. This time we went 2-0 up. McLaughlin and White with early goals. We then got pegged back to 2-2. And then the man who hadn't scored all season, hadn't got a goal and assist, contributed anything, Brendan Lindsay came off the bench and tapped one in the 94th minute. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you? So even if he doesn't play again this year, he doesn't do anything else for us, he'll probably be overtaken by the 2 permanent boys now. That moment could be the most important one. Brentford, another side expected to be up there. They're actually the 5th highest spenders in Europe this window, despite being a mid-table Championship team. So they have got a lot of backing behind them, but it didn't stop Brendan Lindsay. We then drew 2-2 at home to Doncaster. Another one where we came back from behind on 2 occasions. Toured off and Council with the goals then. And then into January it started on fire. Another late winner from this one. Again, similar to the Brentford game. 2-0 up, 2-2, and then a late winner. Zach Council getting it after Porteous and White scored early on. And it's just different people contributing every time. We then rested the majority of our team for the Millwall Cup tie. Fraser Cotleo popped up with a last minute winner. So if I remember rightly, we were 1-0, 2-1 and 3-2 behind. and we managed to come back and win it. Tommy Parks with his last goal before he left, Adrian Bentley again with one in this competition, and Fraser Cotleo with a brace. Good performance from him, and it saw us through to the 4th round. And that's turned out pretty well because we've had a lot of good ties since then. We then lost 2-0 at home to Bristol City in the league. They were just too good. They really outplayed us in that game. I'm not sure where they are. They're mid-table, I think. 12th place. Let's keep an eye on them because they might sneak into the playoffs. They've been in really good form and they were a proper good side then. We then drew 2-2 at Luton. Unfortunately pegged back late on. Nothing we could do about it. It was a screamer. 40 yards out, Michael Burns. His long shots rating terrible, but there you go. What can you do? Peter McLaughlin scored a cracker in that one. Rang the length of the pitch. We then drew 1-1 at Huddersfield, Fraser Cotleo getting a late equaliser for us, before an emphatic return to form against Sheffield Wednesday. 5-0 in the FA Cup 4th round, Joe Thompson with a brace, Peter McLaughlin with a brace, he's starting to get more consistent as you've seen, and Fraser Cotleo with one as well. Sam Wheatley made his debut off the bench there. We also had Parsons deputising at centre-half, as he will be today, and Mark Ball came in for an appearance in goal. But Peter McLaughlin really improving, now worth £6.5 million, and I've got a feeling we're going to be fighting off offers in the summer. I'm surprised we didn't get 1 or 2 in January, but hopefully he can see us up before he goes. But today we face Reading. Just Mitchell Baker missing for us, just Malik Wilkes missing for the opponents. Let's go and get into it. We're just about favourites and see if we can keep on track for promotion. So I've made my changes and this is the squad I'm going to go for today. Because of the injury problems Brendan Lindsay's had, I'm going to let him get back to fitness in the 23s this time, because he may be crucial in the last 2 months. We've got James King who can go on the bench, the new signing, so we don't desperately need a striker. The other ones, Bennett, Wheatley and Brown, will all sit outside the squad for now. They'll play in the FA Cup if we need to. We've got Championship opposition again in the 5th round. We're waiting for the result of a replay. And aside from that, we're as strong as we can be. So we've got Stropper in goal, James and Thomas the fullbacks, with Parsons alongside Walker at centre-half. Back to a reunion from last year for those two. Porteous doing well alongside Tordoff in midfield. Council on the right wing in really poor form. Might go and have a quick talk to him pre-match. McLaughlin and White completely attacking 3. And Fraser Cotleo on his own up front. So let's just go and speak to Council. He did okay in the last game, but before that he was poor. So let's just warn him. Criticise his recent form, and we'll just say, I don't know how much longer I can wait. It's got his attention, and he admits he hasn't done well enough. So let's hope he pops up with a goal today. In we go, 1 potential debutant on the bench, and aside from that, it's a very familiar 11. In we go, and we've been matched up by our opponents. They've got a few familiar names. Valerie, the Southampton fullback. Alan Campbell in central midfield. Of course, we know him from Burnley, our other save. Same for the left winger, Demarai Gray. I mean, both of those current players in our other series. Ollie McBurney over on the right wing. Normally a striker, that's a bit bizarre. But lots of young defensive regens. And it must be very good for where they are in the league. So let's go and tell the lads to pick up where they left off. They've been in brilliant form against Sheffield Wednesday. And hopefully they can replicate that performance here. It's 2nd v 3rd in the Championship. Let's see if Dorking can come out on top. Well, 11 minutes in and we pick things up as Reading start a flying counter-attack. Long ball forward, Gray's in the centre forward, he shoots and Stropper saves, but the flag is up for offside. Another one of these offside highlights. I don't know how long I've talked about them this year. It's so frustrating, but it's not a shot on target for Reading, and we're the only side to have worked the keeper so far. But it's James with a throw on the right for us. Back to McLaughlin, and now Porteous. Had a good season, the free agent, but as I say that, he's given the ball away. James loses out, and Nick Gray skin Parsons. Can Walker cover? He can't, he's beaten as well, but Stropper isn't. Brilliant goalkeeping, brilliant save. He's come up with those so often this season. A couple of lads looking nervy, and it's not been a good performance. I mean, Nick Gray, every time he's got in, he's looked like scoring. But thankfully, Stropper's been there. It's a long ball forward from the Reading keeper. McBurney wins it in the air to McCormick. And although we've dominated the game according to the stats, all we've seen are Reading highlights. McBurney again, keeping the ball well in the middle, and now they're keeping it in possession. Out to the wide left-hand side to McGowan. Demarai Gray, back out to McGowan again. The overlap's beaten James. He doesn't know who to mark, bless him. It's crossed to McBurney, good header, and Reading lead 1-0. You've got to say, from what we've seen, it's deserved. In terms of the match stats, it's now pretty level. But I don't see where we've competed here. I'm going to demand more before half-time. but it looks like we're going to be out of the promotion race. It certainly looks like it's going to be harder either way. But Tordoff on the left, we picked it up immediately. McLaughlin into Cotleo, blocked but only to White. Delivers to the back stick, Council's there. Back to James, he should have shot. Into Council again, he does that time. And that talk works every time. Every single time we go for an individual chat and say you haven't scored in a few games, I need to get you scoring again. They then score the next game. Zach Council back with fire. And it is 1-1 here at Crawley Stadium. Dorking Wanderers 1, Reading 1, and we're back on top in a promotion race. There we go then. A couple of late yellow cards in the first half, just getting a bit ragged. But aside from that, it's been a pretty decent display. According to the stats, we're dominating, but we've only seen Reading chances, so it's very hard for us to agree with that. But we've got the goal, and that's all that matters. McBurney winning headers on the right, though. Putting the big target man out there really is causing us problems. And if Nick Gray could finish today, they'd probably have a few more the away side. But as it stands, still 1-1, and we're on the front foot. Lewis James taking the throw to McLaughlin. Into Porteous. Goes for the shot. The keeper went, and it's deflected in. Oh, it was all over the place. Bobbling around. Defenders throwing in front of it. But Aaron White eventually gets there. From the edge of the box, the keeper was just getting up. He couldn't get back down to his other side in time, and we lead 2-1. But McCormick immediately with a free kick for Reading, just off the outside of the post. It is all happening here between two very good sides, but as it stands, we are closing the gap to the top. An hour gone, we lead 2-1, and Fraser Cotleo's picked up a knock. That could be a disaster. But this is what we signed James King for. This is what we spent nearly £1 million on. James King, the centre forward, coming on. Again left-footed. Cotleo's left-footed, as is Lindsay. All of these good strikers are left-footed for some reason. But that's the change we're going to make just because it's enforced. And hopefully James King can become an instant hero. I'm a bit worried about his work rate. Oh, he's given a penalty. Where's that come from? Handball. He just jumped and headed it, didn't he? But either way, the referee going for the big team. Reading have got the penalty. McBurney steps up for his second of the game. Oh, what a save! And he gets to the rebound first. Oh, Stropper, you are a brilliant man. What a hero. I mean, £2.5 million. I said at the start of the season, I'm worried I've spent too much. But he has earned every penny of it so far. Stropper saves the penalty, and we are still in front here with 20 to go. McGowan, the left back for Reading, who are completely on top at this stage, by the way, finds Brophy in goal again. They're going to go long eventually. We're going to have to make changes in a minute, because we're getting skimmed by these wingers. But it's McBurney in the middle as we speak. Valerie getting the ball back to the centre half. Still no urgency, and it's given away to Thomas. White finds Tordoff. Don't give it away there. He doesn't. He goes all the way back to Stropper. He finds Parsons. Flicks on for James. Can we get a third? Just make it comfortable. Council. Into McLaughlin. James overlapping. Council's with him. He crosses instead. White's there. It hit his knee, I think. He didn't get a good connection. It hit his knee, and it went straight to the keeper. And now Reading have got a free kick. McDade's going to take it. Big run up, big shot. Oh, Stropper again. Tips it onto the bar with an incredible save and then picks up the rebound. 15 to go. How his rating 6.8, I will never know. But Stropper is going to be the hero today. We're going to make a couple of tactical tweaks, particularly at left back. Luke Thomas is going to drop to a defensive duty, as is James, to be honest. Porteous hasn't had the best game. Bentley on for him. He drops to a support duty. And McLaughlin replaced by George Burns. He hasn't had his best game and he's looking nervous. So in we go, 15 minutes left, and we'll drop more defensive later if we have to. It's James with a throw into the sub Bentley, who's lost out in possession. He turns up with big moments, but he's not the best all-round player yet, and it could well cost us here. Musselwhite down the left for the away team. Oh, he's beaten a sliding challenge, in unopposed, and he's put it wide. I thought Stropper had given his near post away there, but thankfully it's still 2-1. Reading back on top. I presume they've gone more attacking now, and let's be honest, on the balance of play, they should be at least level. As Tavernier picks it up on the edge again. Good effort, just wide of the post, and we're going to drop to balanced. We might have to time waste our way through this one, because I don't see us holding on the way things are at the moment. But as it stands, we are 8 points clear of third place. But this could change with this corner. McDade in, headed away by Parsons. Really good deputising at centre-back today. And the long ball forward finds the sub King. Can the new striker become an instant hero? Beats one into the box. Chance to shoot straight at the keeper. Really good work. Did well to take on a man. But didn't quite have the end product. We've got 5 minutes of stoppage time. And we are going to time waste all the way to the end. Frequent time wasting. Let's be more disciplined. In transition, we'll slow it down. We'll drop our offensive line. We won't prevent short goalkeeper distribution. That's about all I can manage for now. 5 minutes of stoppage time to go, and Reading are on the attack yet again. All we've seen is Reading highlights at the end of this. Luke Thomas heads up, doesn't really get it away though. Damari Gray, Thomas blocks, into Nick Gray, hard to Tavernier, it's 2-2. Oh, it's deserved, but it's still heartbreaking. We were hanging on so well. We were hanging on through all these attacks, and it is now 2-2 here, and we're going to have to go back to normal. We can't be hanging on for a point, it could go terribly wrong. The one thing we do know here is that Reading will probably be happy. They might sit back now and maybe we can catch them out. 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. Can we find a goal? 20 seconds left. We have a free kick in the opposition half. Jack Walker's going to take it. Why are you time wasting? He finds King. He's in 1-on-1. King the sub. Oh, he's offside. Oh, I thought he'd just become the biggest hero at the club. But it is offside, and that was the last kick of the game. This goal kick, free kick, whatever you want to call it, will be taken. And we're still playing for some reason. Council gets back but doesn't win the challenge. Into the box. Reading might nick it here. Council does really well defensively. Out for a throw-in, and I don't know why we're still playing. Nearly 96 minutes on the clock now. We're a minute over the allotted time. Musselwhite takes the throw to Gray, and he's got a chance to cross. Parsons heads away. White gets there. Hoof downfield, and the whistle finally goes. A brilliant game between two really good sides. It finishes 2-2. Stropper saved a penalty. He was unbelievable. And we're just going to try and keep the confidence on board. Still no winning 4 in the league, which is a concern. But otherwise, we almost had heroics from a new striker. So we've gone through all the messages. It said Reading held out for a draw. I think going on the end of the game, we were the luckier side. We'll go and deal with a press conference off camera. But I'm aware this has been a while. So let's look at when we'll next be back. We've got a month or so of big games to come. And I'm trying to work out who's up and around there. So we've got Watford. They're the leaders, but that's a bit late in March. We've got Sunderland and Swansea. Are either of those up there? I think Swansea might have been. Let me go back to the table. They're not. So do you know what? We might leave it all the way to Watford and then have 2 big episodes right near the end of the year. If there's any big action in the meantime, I will come back. If there's any major changes to the way things are going. But otherwise, we'll leave it and we'll come back to face the leaders. Hopefully, we'll still be on their coattails then. But I don't know about you. I think we can agree it's been a remarkable season. We're up in second place. We're only 5 points clear of Palace now, who won as we dropped points late on. But it's still a very good position to be in. 9 points clear at the bottom of the playoffs. And I'm confident we can hang on to the top 6 this year. But if you did enjoy this episode and that brilliant game against Reading, as well as the bits of business on transfer deadline day, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It makes such a difference and I do greatly appreciate it. I hope you're all staying safe at this time. If you are new to the channel, subscribe down below. Turn the notifications on for daily alerts as episodes release on the channel. We've got 2 FM20 long-term stories, this one and then our head coach series as well. That'll be back tomorrow at the normal time. And then on Sunday we've got our 2 new series on the channel too. Our FM20 Network career at midday, and then at 4:30 our stadium review series. If you haven't already, let me know in the comments what you think of the January signings. If you think we can cling on for second or at least the top 6. This time last year we were in the playoffs, we fell away drastically. Let's hope it doesn't happen again. But a big thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the channel as always. I really do appreciate it greatly. And I hope to see you next time for another top of the table clash as we look to stay in the championship promotion race.